Okay, let's unpack this a little bit. Imagine walking into, say, a brand new office building, or maybe even a really nicely renovated apartment complex. The air feels crisp, the temperature is just perfect, right? And there's this sense of quiet, understated comfort. What if I told you there's a silent, kind of invisible technology working away behind the scenes, making that whole experience possible? And at the same time, radically cutting down on energy use. Today, we're diving deep into the global multi-service chilled beams market. Now, this isn't just, another gadget for keeping things cool. It feels like a fundamental shift in how we approach building climate. Essentially, a chilled beam is a critical part of energy-efficient HVAC systems. And by HVAC, of course, we mean heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. We find them in modern commercial buildings, residential buildings too, and that multi-service part. That's important.
Yes.
We'll circle back to that. So our mission today is to cut through the details and pull out the really important nuggets. We're looking at the recent global chilled beams market, growth and regional dynamics report from Cognitive Market Research. We want to uncover not just the numbers, though they are impressive, but what they actually mean for, well, sustainable architecture and the spaces we all live and work in. And believe me, these numbers are more than just impressive. The market was valued at, $980.62 million back in 2021. Pretty substantial.
And it's projected to hit $1.35 billion by 2025.
Okay.
But here's where it gets really interesting, I think. It's set to surge even further. We're talking $2.58 billion by 2033.
Wow.
Yeah, expanding at a steady 8.42% compound annual growth rate. CAGR. So like you said, a market that's basically set to more than double in just over a decade.
It's truly fascinating, isn't it? And these numbers, they aren't just about, simple growth. They really reflect a profound underlying shift, a change in how we think about designing buildings and managing energy. This isn't just some passing trend. It feels like it's becoming a standard, and it's driven by this global commitment to efficiency, to sustainability. It goes way beyond just how a building looks or the initial cost. The report points to this widespread adoption being fueled by, well, a convergence of factors, really. There's the rising need for genuinely sustainable building tech. Then you've got increasingly strict energy efficiency regulations popping up all over the world, and of course, continuous, pretty rapid advancements in HVAC innovations themselves. It's all working together. Okay, so phenomenal growth, more than doubling, as you said. But let's dig into those drivers a bit more. You mentioned three key things: sustainable tech, regulations, HVAC innovation. Can you break those down a bit? What specifically makes chilled beams fit so well there?
Absolutely. The report is quite clear on these three core drivers. Each one is essential to understanding where this market is heading. So first, sustainable building technologies. Chilled beams are just a prime example here. Their basic operating principle is incredibly efficient. Instead of just using air to move heat around, which takes a lot of energy.
Right, big fans, lots of ductwork.
Exactly. They predominantly use water. And water is just far, far better at absorbing and transferring thermal energy than air is. This means you dramatically cut down on the fan energy needed. And that cuts the building's overall energy consumption for heating and cooling. They just align perfectly with that whole push for greener buildings aiming for a minimal environmental footprint. They're becoming sort of a cornerstone for sustainable design.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Efficiency is key. What's the second driver?
The second is energy efficiency regulations. Governments, industry bodies, they're setting stricter standards for how buildings perform all over the world. You hear about certifications like LEED or BREEAM over in Europe.
Yeah, those green building ratings.
Right. Those systems heavily favor technologies that can have real, measurable energy savings. Chilled beams with that inherent efficiency we just talked about. They're practically tailor-made for architects and developers trying to hit those targets. It helps them avoid penalties, sometimes qualify for incentives. It's really becoming less of an option and more like a requirement in many new builds or major renovations.
So regulation is giving it a big push. And the third?
And third, it's about advanced HVAC innovations. Chill beams aren't just tweaking old systems. They represent a significant leap forward. Beyond just saving energy, they often deliver better indoor air quality. Because they typically handle lower air volumes, you get less spread of airborne contaminants.
Oh, interesting.
Plus, they're remarkably quiet compared to traditional systems, the ones that often hum or whoosh.
Oh, yeah, that background noise you just get used to.
Exactly. And maybe most importantly for occupants, they provide more comfortable environment through radiant cooling. It's this gentle, even cooling sensation. You don't get those drafts you often associate with conventional AC.
Ah, okay, so it feels different too.
It really does. These aren't just small tweaks. They're creating spaces that are healthier, quieter, and frankly more pleasant and productive to be in.
That's a really compelling picture. Efficiency, regulations, comfort, air quality. It sounds almost like a no-brainer, especially for new construction. But, every technology has its challenges. Does the report mention any significant barriers, maybe upfront costs or specific building needs that might slow things down in some places?
That's a really crucial point. No technology is a perfect fit everywhere, right?
Right.
And the report does acknowledge that, yes, the initial installation costs can sometimes be higher than traditional systems,
Hmm.
especially if the design team isn't maybe as familiar with them yet. There's also the architectural integration. They often go in the ceiling, so you need careful coordination with lighting, sprinklers, other services. And because they use water, managing condensation is critical. That means you need precise humidity control in the building.
Right, can't have drips.
Exactly. But the report suggests that as awareness grows, as manufacturing gets more efficient, and as those long-term energy savings become really undeniable, these hurdles are being overcome. And remember that multi-service aspect we mentioned?
Yeah.
That actually helps here sometimes. By integrating things like lighting or other functions into the beam itself, you can potentially simplify the overall ceiling design in installation in the long run.
Ah, I see. So integrating services can offset some complexity. That's important context. Okay, so we understand the benefits, the drivers, some of the practicalities. Now, you mentioned the picture isn't the same everywhere, these global trends. How do they actually play out region by region? Let's zoom in. Where is this growth really accelerating? Let's start with North America. The report says it's a significant market, right?
Wow.
Projected to jump from about $280 million in 2021 to over $726 million by 2033.
Yes, North America holds a big share. And while the United States is the largest single part of that, forecast to reach around $478 million. What's really interesting is the acceleration happening north and south of the U.S. border. Canada, for instance, is showing a notably faster growth pace, an 8.86% CAGR.
Okay, why might that be?
Well, often it's linked to their increasingly strict building codes. There's a strong national focus on energy efficiency up there and a real drive for better indoor environments, especially in commercial buildings and places like hospitals or universities.
Right.
And then Mexico. Mexico really stands out, a very robust 9.18% CAGR projected.
Wow, even faster.
Yeah. The thinking there is it's fueled by rapid urbanization, significant investment in sustainable tourism and hospitality projects, and also a growing number of manufacturing hubs that are aiming for those international green building certifications. It helps them attract global business, you see.
Ah, interesting. So it's a mix of compliance and also competitive advantage.
Exactly.
Okay, let's cross the Atlantic. Europe, also a big market, expanding from around $377 million to nearly $930 million by 2033. A solid 7.79% CAGR.
Yes, and Europe has, well, it's long been a leader in green building practices, hasn't it? So that consistent growth isn't really a surprise. The UK, Germany, France, they remain substantial markets as you'd expect.
Right.
But the report highlights Spain showing particularly rapid growth, over 9% annually.
Spain. Why Spain specifically?
It seems linked to renewed investment in their tourism infrastructure, upgrading hotels and resorts, plus a general push to modernize older building stock with more sustainable solutions. But what's equally fascinating, I think, is the rest of Europe category. That group is growing fastest of all, an impressive 10.65% CAGR.
So smaller countries, maybe.
Exactly. It suggests really broad adoption across those smaller but very environmentally conscious economies. Think Denmark, Switzerland, Sweden. Places where advanced building standards and energy mandates have been deeply embedded for years. Chilled beams are just a natural fit there.
Makes sense. Deep roots in sustainability. Now, let's talk about where the report shows the strongest momentum. Really explosive growth, it seems. Asia Pacific. Revenues there are set to nearly triple, from about $182 million in 2021 up to, $545 million by 2033. That's a 9.56% CAGR overall.
This is truly where the acceleration is most dramatic. It's just a testament to the sheer scale of development happening and the urgent need for sustainable solutions in these burgeoning economies. China, which is already a massive construction market, leads the region. It's projected to surge to over $207 million, growing at an impressive 10.50% CAGR.
Huge numbers.
Huge. It reflects their immense building projects, especially in these rapidly expanding cities, but also their ambitious national sustainability goals. They're trying to tackle pollution, improve energy independence.
Right.
And then, even more remarkably, India posts an even higher CAGR. 10.60%, reaching nearly $68 million by 2033.
India growing even faster. Wow.
Yeah. India's growth is propelled by its own, unprecedented urban development, a rapidly expanding middle class demanding better indoor comfort, and a strong push for green buildings, particularly in its booming IT and commercial sectors, often driven by international companies setting high standards.
Okay, so China and India are really driving that APAC growth, but the report also mentions others. Japan at nearly $94 million, South Korea over $45 million, Australia around $34 million, all showing strong growth. And Southeast Asia, too, growing strongly at over 9%.
Absolutely. And you also see solid support from places like Singapore, Taiwan. It all adds up, fueling this regional acceleration. Think about it. The sheer volume of new buildings going up in Asia-Pacific, combined with climates that are often getting harder and more humid,
Yeah.
it makes the energy efficiency and the superior comfort of chilled beams not just desirable, but almost paramount. It's essential for managing massive energy demands and creating livable, productive spaces.
It sounds like they're really building their future with sustainability baked in from the start.
In many ways, yes.
Yeah.
It's becoming core to development there.
Okay, shifting south now, South America. Revenues there also set to more than double, from about $68 million to $194 million by 2033, a solid 9.05% CAGR.
That's right. Brazil leads the pack here, projected to hit over $95 million with a strong 9.59% CAGR. That reflects significant infrastructure investment, the rise of new commercial and residential complexes in major cities. Developers are increasingly opting for modern, efficient HVAC.
Okay.
Colombia is actually growing fastest in the region, nearly 9.5% CAGR, reaching over $25 million. And Chile also posts notable expansion, around $16 million.
And the drivers there? Similar to other regions.
Largely, yes. Rapid urbanization is a big factor. Plus, a growing awareness of environmental standards as these economies develop. They're moving away from older, less efficient systems and really embracing more sophisticated building tech.
Okay, makes sense. What about the Middle East? That market's accelerating too, from roughly $51 million to $142 million by 2033, an 8.92% CAGR.
Yes, and the Middle East growth story is quite unique. Saudi Arabia is emerging as the largest market, forecast to hit nearly $55.5 million, and it's backed by a really strong 9.90% CAGR.
Almost 10%. That's significant.
Very significant. And it's clearly linked to those ambitious national development plans like Vision 2030 and those headline-grabbing mega projects, NEOM, things designed to set new global benchmarks for sustainable urbanism.
Right. Those huge projects need cutting-edge tech.
Exactly. And following Saudi Arabia, you have the UAE at over $32 million, Turkey around $26 million. The region's extreme climate means cooling is absolutely essential. Combine that with a desire for iconic, sustainable architecture. Well, high-efficiency systems like chilled beams become extremely attractive, almost necessary.
Building smart for a challenging climate.
Precisely.
Okay, last region, Africa. Expanding from about $20.5 million to nearly $50 million by 2033. Recording a 6.88% CAGR.
Yeah, the CAGR here is a bit more moderate compared to, say, Asia-Pacific or South America, but it still represents really significant and vital growth for sustainable infrastructure development on the continent. South Africa leads, projected at almost $23 million, which reflects its more developed commercial and industrial base. Nigeria is contributing nearly $14 million, driven by its own rapid urbanization. And as new commercial centers and urban hubs continue to emerge across Africa, especially in those economies that are rapidly industrializing, the demand for modern, efficient building solutions that can cope with diverse climates and growing energy needs, it's naturally going to keep rising.
So it's about building that foundational, sustainable infrastructure for the future there.
Exactly. It's a longer-term trajectory, perhaps, but definitely heading in the same direction.
Okay, so we've toured the globe, seen the numbers, dug into the drivers. What does this all really mean when we step back? We've seen this multi-service chilled beams market isn't just growing, it's seeing this steady strategic adoption pretty much everywhere.
I think if we connect it all back to the bigger picture, what's really undeniable is this. While North America and Europe, they continue to hold strong market shares based on their established economies.
Yeah.
The real engine of acceleration, the place where the growth is fastest, that's clearly coming from Asia Pacific and South America. With the Middle East also making really significant strides, driven by those unique factors we discussed. And this, well, it definitively positions chilled beams as a central, almost indispensable solution in the future of green building design. Worldwide, it's a technology that just effectively addresses these critical needs we have. For environmental responsibility, yes, but also for superior comfort for the people inside the buildings.
Nick.
Especially in a world that's getting denser, more climate conscious, and definitely more energy hungry.
It feels like this shift isn't just about saving kilowatt hours, is it? It's also about crafting spaces that are just better,
Well,
healthier, more productive, quieter, better for people, better for the planet.
that's a great way to put it. It's a holistic improvement.
So, for you listening, whether you're involved in building design or maybe urban planning, facilities management, or maybe you're just interested in how our world is becoming more sustainable, more intelligent, this deep dive really shows how these seemingly specialized, maybe even invisible technologies like multi-service chilled beams, they're playing a massive, undeniable role. They're shaping our environment, shaping the spaces we use every single day. It's quite a transformation happening, really, kind of behind the scenes. Like our buildings are getting this quiet, high-tech spa treatment, and most of us don't even realize it.
It's true. And this deep dive into chilled beams, it really reveals how an invisible technology, something quietly integrated, can make such a monumental impact on our comfort, our energy bills, our planet. And maybe it raises an important question for all of us, doesn't it? What other invisible technologies are out there, quietly revolutionizing our everyday environments right now, making our cities smarter, more sustainable?
Mhm.
And how might they shape the cities and buildings of tomorrow, the ones we haven't even begun to fully appreciate yet?
That is a great thought to end on. What else is hiding in plain sight? Well, that's all for this deep dive into the fascinating world of multi-service chilled beams. We hope you feel a little more well-informed after this and perhaps, yeah, a lot more curious about the hidden forces shaping our built world.